What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to look at all the new yellow Digimon that are coming around in Double Diamond. We've reached that lovely time of the cycle, so to speak, where we've got a whole bunch of cards for one colour that we haven't looked at yet. So we do a big old video looking at a whole big bunch of cards. Today it is the turn of yellow, so let's have a little bit of a gander, and let's start off with Tinkermon. Yay! Now, Tinkermon here, what we've got is a free cost to play normally, 0 cost to Digivolve, 2000 power. All fairly standard and to be expected for a level 3 of a half-decent skill. Do we have a half-decent skill? Well, on deletion, one of your opponent's Digimon gets security attack -1 until the end of your opponent's next turn. Yes. Love it. Absolutely love it. I talk a lot about the fact that Digimon comes down to attacks and turns. How many attacks until I win the game? How many turns is that until I've stripped away my opponent's 5 security and then attack to win the game? And then, of course, the same for them. Security attack -1 basically takes away one of their attacks. And when I take away one of their attacks, hopefully, at least in some games it's going to work, it's going to end up where my opponent actually needs one more turn to win the game. And when it takes them one more turn to win the game, that opens it up for me. Of course, there is a real comparison to be made here with Salamon. Salamon, on deletion, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, you trigger recovery +1. Now, it's not exactly the same, but there is a big similarity here, because actually, Salamon means they've got to take out one more security in order to win the game, and Tinkermon here means they've got to take out one more security to win the game, and this is a 3 cost to play rather than a 4 cost. There are absolutely going to be times having a security is better. Remember that yellow have a billion different things. Pulsemon's a great example here, where a certain amount of security will activate a certain skill. There are definitely reasons why Salamon is better, and I'm not saying there aren't. But if all you're looking for is just a way to make your opponent have to attack once more in order to win the game, this works perfectly, and it is genuinely an alternative here to Salamon. You have been warned. Also, while we're talking Tinkermon here, we do absolutely need to mention that we do have that original combo from when Tinkermon was actually first revealed, because remember, when you play Petermon, you may play a Tinkermon from your hand or trash without paying its cost, and it is any Tinkermon. So, just to be clear, yes, this will absolutely work with this new Tinkermon, and it makes a pretty awesome combo, if I'm honest with you. This is pretty gosh darn good. So that's Tinkermon then, but we can also have a little bit of a look at Tapia Mom. Now, Tapia Mom comes in with the same stat line, 3 cost to play normally, 0 cost to Digivolve, 2000 power, and there is an inheritable skill on your turn, limited to once during your turn. When a card is removed from your security, draw a card. Cool. Sounds good to me. I mean, we saw Wizardmon the other day that's got an inheritable skill that gains you a memory when something is removed from your stack, and it is very, very much worth reminding ourselves here that something like TK Takaishi, you take a yellow card from your security and then essentially recover 1 to replace it. This will work with this skill. We've already had a ruling for a different card. So you can essentially use TK Takaishi, search the card like you usually would, then draw a card and gain a memory. Tell me that's not a combo you are into. This will work when you are just randomly lowering your own security, which yellow does tend to do sometimes, but it will also work when your opponent is lowering your security, or when it is part of your big plan. I think there are definitely going to be some combos built around things like Tapia Mom and Wizardmon. It makes a fun combo. Now, we've got Bellucimon here. It is the first time it has ever appeared. I adore the artwork. 4 cost to play normally, 2 cost to Digivolve, 5000 power, level 4. All seems fairly good and standard, nothing to see here. But when you play, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, you draw 2. Yes, Absolutely yes. Now, you've got to have 3 or fewer security cards, which is a little bit sad, but do remember in this very set, we've got the Pulsemon, that when you play it can immediately put you down to 3 security, and if you've got full security, it's essentially a 1 cost to play, which is a bit nuts. Then you go ahead and play this and draw 2 cards. Yes, it is a play skill, not an evolution skill. And the fact of the matter is, in terms of a play skill that draws 2, yeah, there really isn't very much else here, ladies and gentlemen. There are some options. We got the level 5 Zoodamon, that'll draw you 2. We've got the level 4 Cordramon, but again, they're both in blue, so they aren't going to work perfectly all the time. There's a couple of purple that also make you trash, but I don't think they really count. There is Plutomon, incidentally, that will draw 2 when Digivolving, but that's a level 6 purple, which I don't think is quite the same. So, yeah. In terms of just drawing 2, this is the lowest level we've seen. It is the cheapest we've seen. It is the only yellow card that we've seen. And sure, you've got to have 3 or fewer security cards remaining. It's not perfect. It's not always going to work all of the time. But if you're playing the right kind of yellow deck, this is going to work. And having a 4 cost to play card that is going to draw you 2, that's nuts. I mean, take something like the aforementioned Pulsemon. Pulsemon essentially, although if you got exactly 3 security, it will actually do both, is either a 2 cost to play or it draws you a card. Like I say, with 3 security, it is a 2 cost that draws you a card. Well, Bluchimon here, if you've got 3 or fewer security, it's like double that. This is really, really strong, and I don't see any real reason why, if you are playing a yellow deck that is manipulating its security in the way that some of these yellow decks tend to do, I don't really see any reason why you wouldn't. This seems like an absolute no-brainer. This is a card I am extremely excited about. Yes, I know yellow is by far the best deck at the moment. Yes, I know I've showed you a bunch of good yellow cards already. I am sorry. But moving on here, we've got Mimikmon, a 4 cost to play normally, 2 cost to Digivolve, 3,000 power. It's weak, it better be worth it. When you play, if you've got 3 or fewer security, you gain 2 memory. So if you've got 3 or fewer security, and again, we've got the new Pulsemon, and again, yellow decks have a bunch of ways of manipulating their deck, which they are absolutely going to want to do, so that they can use skills like this a little bit more easily, which again seems a little bit not so good, then it's basically a 2 cost to play normally level 4. And I'm going to ruin the surprise here. There is no 2 cost to play normally level 4. They don't exist. Mimikmon can be it. Incidentally, when I'm doing this searching, I'm using digimoncard.dev. That is also where the BT5 and 6 translated proxies come from, because those dudes are awesome. So, again, if you're playing one of these memory manipulation decks, this is a 2 cost to play level 4. That is clearly ridiculous. Now, Apemon comes in here looking suspiciously like a Dragon Ball Z mock-up. And we've got a vanilla card, and it is a level 4, 6 cost to play normally, 2 cost to Digivolve, 8,000 power. Well, the 6 cost to play normally isn't particularly exciting. The 2 cost to Digivolve is standard. The 8,000 power is high. This is higher than your average level 4. It is, in fact, higher than your average level 5. 7 is about the average for a level 5. So we've got a level 4 here. I think this is a level 4 that you can legitimately start attacking the stack with. Because if I'm attacking with 8,000 power, you're talking weirdly powerful level 5s, and then you're just talking 6s and 7s. So I feel pretty confident at this stage when I'm attacking the stack with Apemon. I still think yellow have got so many good tricks, this one might end up being left by the wayside. But you're giving me a level 4 here that can outpower most level 5s. That is something that is absolutely worth playing around with. Now, coming straight in with potentially my new favourite Digimon, we've got Mammoth Mon. Anyone that knows my Pokemon preferences will get that reference. If you don't worry about it. 5 cost to play normally, 3 cost to Digivolve 6,000 power, 5 cost to play on a level 5 is high. Wait, no, literally the opposite of what I meant to say. 5 cost to play on a level 5 is low. This is awesome. Another one of the ones I particularly love, Mammoth Mon comes in as a 5 cost to play, and that sees a whole bunch of play. Although Mammoth Mon is also a 2 cost to Digivolve, this is a 3, but then again, this has an inheritable skill. While you have 3 or fewer security cards, this Digimon gains 1,000 power. It's fine, and yellow don't tend to raise power like some of the other colours, I'm looking at you, red, tend to do. So it's alright, but it's not really what we're looking for here. For what it's worth, it is actually the exact same skill as the Growlmon from BT4. While you have 3 or fewer security cards, you gain 1,000 power. And it is actually the exact same skill as the War Growlmon from BT4, although War Growlmon's also got Digiburst 2 that lowers power by 4,000, and that War Growlmon does actually see a whole bunch of play, but it sees a whole bunch of play for the Digiburst skill. So as much as I love the design of this particular Digimon, and I do, it's rad, I do have to look at this and go, it's cheap, and the skill's okay, but generally speaking, I'm going to be Digivolving up, and it's no cheaper to Digivolve than War Growlmon, and I'm definitely playing War Growlmon here. So, sorry Mammoth Mon, maybe next time. But if you want another level 5, which might end up being better, how about the return of Mimikmon? 6 cost to play normally, 3 cost to Digivolve 7,000 power, nothing particularly noteworthy or interesting there. And we've got an inheritable skill that says, when a card is removed from your security, one of your opponent's Digimon loses 2,000 power for the turn. And we've seen that one of the things that yellow does so well and so effectively is lowering the power of opposing Digimon. So now you're giving me this, but you're also combining it with, say, maybe Wizardmon that gains you a memory when your stack is reduced, and Tapia Mom that draws a card when your stack is reduced, and the fact that you can really activate this very easily with stuff like TK Takaishi, and I'm thinking, well, hang on a second, there is a core of a deck right there. It's only minus 2,000, but we're going to have yellow decks that want a lower power, and this can happen multiple times. And we're going to have decks that do want to manipulate our security, and actually, at the end, Mimikmon starts looking like a really nice option in these yellow decks. But wait, there's yet another level 5 yellow Digimon we need to have a chat about. It is Manta Gorman. 7 cost to play normally, 3 cost to Digivolve 7,000 power. Again, this is pretty gosh darn standard for a level 5. But when you are attacking, you may trash the top card of your security to lower one of your opponent's Digimon's power by 5,000 for the turn. I love this skill, and I've already talked about the fact that Digimon, yellow decks as a whole, really do want to start lowering power. It's kind of what they do, it's kind of their thing. But by the same token here, am I going to want to? Because 7,000 is your standard, ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill level 5. So I don't feel confident attacking into the stack, and I've got to trash one of my security cards in order to do so. But then again, maybe I'm trashing one of my security and trashing one of their security and getting rid of a crucial Digimon of theirs. But a lot of the time, I lose a security, they lose a security, I lose a Digimon, they lose a Digimon. And sometimes it will be worth it. The position in the game means that you come out of that exchange in a better position than your opponent. But I feel like there is an awful lot of risk here, and I'm not convinced it's going to pay off. But there is one more Digimon about which we need to have a little bit of a chat here, and it is Skull Mammoth Mon, and this is a big new level 6, and I have high hopes. Now, the stats here are a little higher than we might expect in terms of play cost. 12 to play normally is expensive. We then got a 3 cost to Digivolve 11,000 power, which is standard. But it's got blocker. And this is actually kind of huge, because yellow blockers, they don't come around very often. Also, every yellow blocker we've seen before this has been a level 4. We saw Unimon back in the starter deck, we saw the promo Gatomon, and we saw Pitamon in BT4. That is it. That is the complete, unabridged list of yellow blockers up until this particular set. Yellow is hurting for blockers. Yellow wants more blockers. Also, if we look at all of those blockers, the most powerful one we've ever seen in yellow is Unimon. Okay, to be fair, we've also got the option card Testament that will give any of your Digimon blocker, but that is a temporary thing, and that's not what we want to be relying on. Yes, I know Testament will give you blocker, but that's not really what we want to be going for here. I'm not ignoring that. It's just not something that's particularly on my radar. So, up until now, our options for blocking in yellow have been frankly poor and weak. They're there, but we're not getting excited about them. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, we have got the biggest, baddest yellow blocker yet seen. And okay, maybe that's not much of a compliment, given, you know, how many we've actually seen. But that's not the point, ladies and gentlemen. That is not the point. I love having an 11,000 power blocker in yellow. I think it's cool. Now, there is another skill here. While you have 3 or fewer security cards, this Digimon gains 2,000 power. And that is absolutely huge, because the average for a level 6 is 11,000. So now, you're not only beating average, you're actually beating above average, and you're right up there with the biggest, baddest level 6s around, things along the lines of Nidogmon. So yeah, this sounds pretty gosh darn good to me. I like this. Is it going to find a place in all these yellow decks? I can't tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen. That remains to be seen. But the fact of the matter is, what we have here is a very powerful yellow blocker, and that is not something we're used to seeing in yellow decks. I am cautiously optimistic that this could end up being a very good Digimon. Yeah, this very much seems like the rich getting richer. Tinkermon seems like a great card, which a lot of people are going to want to use. Tapia Mom and Wizardmon really do seem like a great combo for those decks that are lowering your security. Belluchimon seems, again, that draw 2 is just extremely powerful. We've got a level 4 that can be a 2 cost to play. I mean, there is a lot to like in these new yellow cards. I hate to say it, but it seems like the rich might have just gotten a fair bit richer. But I want to know what you think about all of the cards that I have mentioned in today's video, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.